Hey everyone, RogueGold here, and today Danny Weaver, the brand new textile vendor, has officially arrived in the Division 2. And so, after years of people's hopes and dreams, we're going to be taking a look at him today, both how to find his location within the map and what his inventory is so that you know what and how many textiles you can spend on his stock per week. Should be pretty fun. I'm excited to jump into it, and if you enjoy content on the Division 2 like this and you want to stay up to date, then be sure to click that subscribe button so that you never miss out. I would appreciate it greatly. And with that said, let's jump right into it. Alright, now very quickly before we get to the textile vendor himself, I figured it would be useful for at least some of you to go over what textiles actually are, right? We have this new vendor, but how do you get the currency that he's accepting? Well, it's pretty easy. If you go into your menu here and go to apparel, textiles were originally designed as a currency that you were awarded when you received duplicates of apparel items that you already owned. And so in a lot of cases, their original intention was that you were able to use them on various apparel items, not many that I have left, but that you could, purchase without premium credits, right? They were basically a way to circumvent the real life monetary aspect of apparel items in the game. But once people acquired all of said items that you could buy with textiles, they were like, well, there's nothing left to do with them, so what do I do now? And that's kind of the issue that we've had for the past few years. You can see down at the bottom there, I have nearly 60,000 textiles sitting there, and that's because I don't have anything left to spend them on. And that is the general purpose of this new textile vendor, is allowing players to spend that hoard of currency they have on stuff that is actually worthwhile now to their character. And so like I said, the way you get them is from duplicates. You can see down here at the standard apparel cache I have, I think if you go back here, does it say it somewhere? It doesn't because that's there. But I have like several hundred keys for the standard cache, right? And it says all event items collected. So I can't get anything new from this. But if I open one up, you'll see that it rewards me with a certain amount of textiles for getting a duplicate item that I already own. If we reveal this emote, I've already got that, and it says textiles were rewarded instead for 115. So that is generally how you're going to acquire textiles. You also get some of them from the season track. I think if I go in here, you'll see different bundles of them along the way. Like right there, you would get 500. So those are the two main ways, to my knowledge, is either from the season track or from duplicate apparel items that you collect. Alright, the next step in this whole deal is how do we get to the textile vendor? Where is he located? Now this vendor works the same way as Cassie Mendoza, who if you don't know is basically the limited time per week rare vendor that travels around DC. You first have to find the Snitch, which is another traveling NPC, and I will show you a few ideal locations where you might find him. And then at that point, it reveals the location now of both Cassie Mendoza and Danny Weaver. They're at two separate spots, and it shows you when they're going to be available, because they're not available all hours of the day and all, days of the week. So let's start there, like I was saying, with where you can find the Snitch. Now there are multiple locations across the DC map that the Snitch will pop up. The one that I always have the most success with, so we're going to try that first right now, is down here at the Space Administration HQ mission. Let's fast travel there. Once you spawn in here, you're going to want to turn 180 degrees, head right back here, and the vast majority of the time, just like that, you can see the Snitch spawned in right there. This is my most preferred location to try and find where he's at. He'll have those question marks above his head. That's how you know you're finding the right NPC. And then all you have to do is walk right up to him. He's going to have a bounty for you to accept. You don't have to take it, but by doing that, it says Gunrunner location revealed at the top of the map. And if we go in here, we'll now see two different shopping carts. One is Cassie Mendoza, that's the regular vendor that's been there since the game launched, and this new one over here is Danny Weaver. And again, whenever you find the Snitch, be sure to look on the map here and see if he's actually open. Right now he is, because it says vendor closes in 16 hours and 50 minutes, so for the remainder of today that I'm making this video, he is there, but then after that, he'll go away for a certain period of time, come back. It's always on that rotating basis. Now, just in case the Snitch does not show up for you at this location that we tried right here, again, I recommend you try this first because it almost always works for me, but I'll show you two alternative locations you can try out. The first is right here near the Jefferson Trade Center main mission. This is, of course, its location on the map. I've had some success over time with finding him just hanging out around these rafters around this big semicircle area they have here. So you can look around this area if you want to try and find him if he's not showing up at that other spot. Again, you're looking for the question marks over the head like we saw at that previous location. And then the other location suggestion I can give is right here in this small little alley. Now this is its location on the map. It's actually right next to where we're about to go to find Danny. But this little alley, again, that's right next to the, which safe house is this? The Truman one in the Foggy Bottom zone. I've had a good amount of luck finding him right here. But again, that number one spot I recommend is over by Space Admin HQ. Only if you don't find him there should you try out one of these other locations. Alright, but it is time, my friends. We're finally going to take a look at what the textile vendor has for sale. Now keep in mind, this is not always going to be the same exact location that he's going to be at if you're watching this video much later on in time. The whole point of finding the snitch, that section, right, that step of the guide here, is that these vendors move around the map. Both Danny and Cassie Mendoza open shop at various locations across DC. But again, all you have to look for is that shopping cart sign. In this case, Danny is right here in front of us. So I'll even ping it, and it should show, yeah, he's right down there. You can even see the NPC icon. So I'm going to head inside here, head down the ladder, and he should be waiting for us right in here. And just like that, here he is. This is the textile vendor at long last. What do you got for sale? Okay. He sells an exotic cache, field proficiency caches, crafting material caches, and named item caches. Now, the very important distinction with this vendor that they talked about, in the special report stream when they announced him, is that he has a limited stock of caches you can purchase per week. And that is because they don't want people who have, like 100,000 textiles to just suddenly cash up on all of these various things that some other players might not have access to. So you can see next to the name of each of these caches, there's a stock number, and that is how many you can buy per week. And it shows you the restock timer up at the top. So on a weekly basis, you can purchase these, and then that's it. Until it refreshes, you won't be able to get those same ones again. So for example, if I purchase this exotic cache, it now disappears off of the list. And again, that doesn't come back until the weekly reset. So I'm going to go ahead and purchase everything that he has for sale here. And then I'm going to subtract the total amount of textiles that I had first with what I have afterwards, and we'll see how much you can spend per week, because that was a big question people had, is how much am I actually going to be able to spend? And for me, for those items that were there right now, it was 1,700. I was able to spend 1,700 textiles on his stock, and those items are now, again, not going to be available until the weekly reset happens. And you can see on the left side all the caches that I just picked up. And there you have it, folks. That is about all there is to say on the textile vendor. It's kind of crazy that that this is now in the game. After years and years of player requests for something to spend their textiles on, we now have it. And there you have it, everybody. That is your full guide on Danny Weaver and the new textile vendor in the Division 2. We covered what textiles are, how to get them, how to locate Danny Weaver, and what exactly he sells. So now with all that information, be sure to go out and spend them so that you don't have them sitting in your inventory any longer. If you have any remaining questions after watching this guide, then feel free to ask them down below. I will do my best to answer. And if you think there's any other important information people should know about the textile vendor, then be sure to leave that down there as well. But that's all I've got for today, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. RogueGold. Ow.